Have you ever found yourself standing in the kitchen, only to forget why you walked in, or pause mid-conversation, struggling to recall a familiar name? If you're over 65, chances are you've experienced these moments and wondered quietly, is this normal or something more? Growing older brings countless gifts, perspective, patience, and a kind of wisdom only time can offer. But it also brings changes, some subtle, some not, in the way our mind works. It's not just about memory, it's about how we focus, how we make decisions, even how we process emotions. Yet most people don't talk about it, or worse, they fear it. At Elderly Reflections, we believe in facing aging with clarity and compassion. In today's video, we'll uncover the quiet shifts happening in the brain after 60. Backed by science, illustrated through real stories from seniors across the US and Europe. You'll see that these changes don't have to be frightening. In fact, they can be a gateway to deeper understanding, connection, and peace. If this resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification. We share regular reflections on senior health, elderly wisdom, and inspiration, drawn straight from life's later chapters. They say wisdom comes with age, but have you ever wondered what exactly changes inside our mind to bring that wisdom forward? One of the earliest and most common shifts is how our brain begins to process information more slowly. Not because we're less intelligent, but because we're thinking more deeply. Imagine it like a symphony played slower, with more intention. Lucia, a 74-year-old retired architect from Florence, shared, "I don't speak as quickly as I used to, but when I speak now, people listen differently. My words carry more weight." Her daughter told us that although Lucia sometimes pauses longer in conversation, her insights are richer, more thoughtful. Studies from the University of Michigan support this, showing that older adults tend to score higher on tasks involving wisdom and emotional reasoning. That slowdown in speed isn't a decline, it's a sharpening of purpose. It's not about keeping up, it's about going deeper. Another common experience after 65 is occasional forgetfulness. Misplacing keys, forgetting names, or walking into a room with no idea why. Many seniors quietly wonder, is this normal? The truth is, most of the time, yes. Our short-term memory tends to weaken with age, but long-term, emotionally meaningful memories often remain intact. Gerard, 77 from Quebec, put it beautifully. "I forgot my pharmacist's name last week, but I can still smell my mother's stew from 1952. That vivid recall is no accident. Emotionally anchored memories are stored differently in the brain and tend to last longer. So if you're forgetting small things but remember life's big moments, your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do in this stage of life. It's not failing, it's prioritizing. Now, you might notice that multitasking gets harder. Maybe you're reading the news, then hear the phone ring, and suddenly the article makes no sense anymore. That's not a flaw, it's your brain saying, let me focus on one thing at a time. Seniors like Erica, a 79-year-old former flight attendant from Vienna, say they now prefer slower, uninterrupted experiences. "I used to multitask all day on flights. Now, if I'm brewing tea, I'm only brewing tea." Modern neuroscience tells us that the aging brain narrows its focus on purpose. It's not distracted easily. It picks what matters. That shift toward presence is something we can all learn from. An unspoken life lesson from the elderly. One of the quiet victories of the aging brain is emotional stability. Yes, your body may ache more, but emotionally, you're stronger, calmer, less reactive. Eduardo, 80, from São Paulo, shared that he used to argue constantly in his 40s. "Now I just ask myself, what would peace look like here? And I choose that instead." Research from Stanford University calls this the positivity effect. Older adults tend to remember good memories more easily than bad ones. They recover faster from emotional setbacks and often focus more on what's meaningful. This shift isn't accidental. It's the result of decades of perspective, pain, forgiveness, and reflection. It's emotional regulation at its finest, and a key component of senior health that's often overlooked. If you're worried about losing your language skills, don't be. Word finding might take a little longer, but vocabulary comprehension and storytelling ability often remain strong or even improve with age. Beatrice, 82, a retired librarian in Dublin, told us, "It takes me a few seconds sometimes, but when the words come, they come wrapped in wisdom." That's not just poetic, it's proven. Seniors often outperform younger adults in tests of verbal reasoning and analogical thinking. Language becomes more measured, more intentional, and that's why the voices of elders matter more than ever. They speak not to impress, but to pass down something lasting. Here at Elderly Reflections, That's exactly why we share these stories. And finally, let's talk about something that often surprises people. Creativity. Yes, even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, your brain is still capable of new ideas, new art, new beauty. Klaus, 85, from Hamburg, picked up oil painting at 78 after a lifetime in banking. "I never knew I had color in me," he smiled. "But once I started, I couldn't stop." Scientific journals have shown that creative engagement stimulates multiple regions of the brain: memory, coordination, emotion, and contributes to mental longevity. It's not about creating masterpieces, it's about expressing life. And in that expression, the aging mind finds renewal. So when we ask, what happens to our mind as we age? The answer isn't loss, it's transformation. From speed to substance, from multitasking to mindfulness, from reaction to reflection. These are not signs of decline, they are signals of becoming. Becoming more of who we truly are. Not every change in the aging mind is harmless. While most mental shifts after 60 are natural and adaptive, some signs deserve closer attention. Recognizing when something is more than just normal aging is key to protecting your cognitive health. For instance, if confusion becomes frequent, or you notice repeated difficulty with words, dates, or directions, this may indicate more than slowed recall. Let's meet Elaine, 76, from Ohio. Her daughter began to notice she'd forget familiar routes on their weekly drives. One day, she called me from the grocery store parking lot, her daughter recalls. She said she couldn't remember how to get home. That's when I knew we needed to see a neurologist. Elaine was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's. Catching it early allowed the family to plan, support her properly, and even start memory science therapies that improved her quality of life. Another red flag is changes in judgment or behavior. Charles, 80, from Manchester, started giving away large sums of money to strangers over the phone. His family was alarmed when they saw unexplained withdrawals and confused responses. After medical evaluation, it turned out Charles had developed frontotemporal dementia. They were signs of something deeper that needed medical attention. Sudden mood swings, paranoia, or withdrawal from once-loved activities are also warning signs. If a senior who was once sociable begins isolating, expressing fear without clear reason, or shows uncharacteristic irritation, this might signal a neurological condition or depression. Take Rosa, a 73-year-old from Madrid. A joyful woman who loved playing piano, she abruptly stopped attending her music group. Her son thought she was just tired of it. Months later, she was diagnosed with vascular dementia. Her emotional shift had been the first sign, one that many families might miss. Other clues that something more serious may be happening include repeating the same story within minutes, forgetting names of close relatives, or consistently misplacing items in strange places, like putting keys in the refrigerator. Maria, 81, from Lisbon, did just that. "We laughed at first," her niece admitted, "but then it happened again and again." Maria was eventually diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, a form of progressive cognitive decline that also affects movement and mood. There are also red flags tied to the inability to complete everyday tasks. For instance, if a senior who once handled bills or cooked daily meals suddenly seems lost or overwhelmed, that could be cause for concern. Consider Alfred, 79, from Denver. He had been managing the family's finances for over 40 years, but his daughter noticed late payments, unopened mail, and confusion with basic budgeting. After a cognitive assessment, Alfred was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, a condition that doesn't always lead to dementia but signals increased risk. Sometimes even personality can change. Janet, 84, from Edinburgh, was always kind and patient, but in the span of a year she became irritable, withdrawn, and suspicious. Her family suspected depression, but doctors later found signs of mixed dementia, a combination of Alzheimer's and vascular changes. These shifts were painful for her children to watch. "It felt like losing her in pieces," her son said. Yet naming the condition helped them understand how to care for her with more compassion. There are subtler changes too. Many seniors begin to struggle with spatial orientation, losing track of where they are or bumping into furniture in familiar spaces. Augustin, a 75-year-old gardener from Lyon, once navigated parks with ease. But over the past year, his wife noticed bruises from frequent missteps and an unusual hesitation when walking through doorways. Doctors found signs of Parkinson's cognitive decline, a diagnosis that helped Augustin access physical therapy and improve his quality of life. Speech can also be a telling indicator. Marlene, 78, from Vancouver, began speaking in sentences that trailed off. She'd start a story, then go blank. Not lost in thought, Just lost, her sister said. It was a shift from her usual sharp, witty storytelling. She was later diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia, a rare neurodegenerative disorder that primarily affects language. Even sensory experiences like hallucinations or hearing things that aren't there can be early warning signs. When Thomas, 80, from Bristol mentioned hearing voices calling his name at night, his family dismissed it as dreams. But when it persisted, and he began seeing figures that weren't real, they took him to a doctor. The diagnosis with Lewy bodies, early recognition helped them create a safer, calmer home environment. Mental decline doesn't always appear as memory issues first. It may begin with subtle emotional dulling, lack of motivation, or even apathy. Nora, 77, a retired nurse in Boston, stopped volunteering, cooking, and gardening, activities she once loved. Her daughter described it as a quiet withdrawal from life. An assessment revealed early cognitive decline rooted in depression and isolation, treatable once a day. It's also worth mentioning technology. Difficulty using devices, forgetting passwords, or confusion with basic functions like answering a smartphone might be a new red flag. Fred, 83, from Stockholm, used to love photography and editing on his computer. But recently he couldn't remember how to open his email. What was once second nature had become a frustrating struggle. A neurological workup confirmed early signs of dementia. Another growing concern among clinicians is anosognosia, a condition where the individual is unaware of their own cognitive decline. This makes detection harder because the person affected truly believes nothing is wrong. Marjorie, 85, from Melbourne, kept insisting she was fine, even as she wandered outside at night and left appliances on unattended. Her son only realized the severity of the issue after a neighbor found her disoriented in the yard. This form of unawareness is common in Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. The message here isn't to live in fear. It's to watch with love. If you notice shifts in how your loved one engages with the world, if they seem less connected, more frustrated or disoriented, take note. Don't explain it away as just aging. Encourage annual memory screenings as part of routine senior health care. Stay informed about medications and their side effects. Create open, gentle spaces for conversation. And when in doubt, consult professionals. Neurologists, geriatricians, and memory care specialists are your allies. At Elderly Reflections, we believe awareness is power, compassion is strength, and vigilance is a form of love. So if you or someone you care about is showing signs that feel unusual, don't wait. Ask questions, seek answers. The earlier the support, better the outcomes. In the final part of this video, we'll share powerful tools and heartwarming stories of how seniors around the world are caring for their minds. From daily habits to emotional resilience, all grounded in wisdom, purpose, and hope. While aging brings undeniable changes to our cognitive landscape, it also opens doors to healing, creativity, and deeper self-awareness. Seniors around the world are not only managing their mental health, nurturing it with intention and grace. The journey doesn't stop at recognizing decline. It continues through practice, patience, and small daily choices that shape the mind's resilience. Let's begin with physical movement. Research shows that regular exercise significantly slows cognitive aging. Walking, especially in nature, has been linked to better memory retention and mood stability. Thomasina, 83, from Geneva, starts every day with a 30-minute walk along the lakeside. My legs complain, she laughs, but my mind always thanks me. She believes those quiet walks help her sort her thoughts, recall long-forgotten dreams, and feel emotionally grounded. A study from the Mayo Clinic supports this. Seniors who walk at least 150 minutes per week show better cognitive scores and lower risk of dementia. Other forms of movement matter too. Gentle stretching, Tai Chi, yoga, all contribute to balance and mental clarity. Farid, 86, from Morocco, leads a small Tai Chi group in his neighborhood. It's like dancing slowly with the wind, he says. After each session, I feel calm but sharper. Present. Movement isn't just about muscle, it's about memory. Nutrition too plays a profound role. Diets rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, berries, and whole grains help protect neural pathways. Mustafa, 77, from Istanbul, transitioned to a Mediterranean-style diet after his doctor warned him about cognitive decline. I swapped out sugar for walnuts, he says, and soda for herbal tea. Within months, he noticed improved focus and energy. Staying hydrated is another overlooked yet vital factor. Dehydration in seniors can mimic symptoms of confusion, dizziness, and memory loss. Isabel, 80, from Bruges, now keeps a colorful bottle on her kitchen counter. It sounds simple, but water changed my mood and my memory. Cognitive stimulation isn't just about puzzles and crosswords, though those help too. It's about learning, challenging the brain, and staying curious. Elaine, 80, from Toronto, took up learning Italian at age 78. Why not, she smiled. My grandchildren are bilingual. I wanted to keep up. She attends weekly language classes with a group of fellow seniors. Not only has it improved her memory, but it's also created a new circle of friendships, giving her emotional and social nourishment. Lifelong learning is one of the most powerful forms of mental protection. Other seniors dive into music, which stimulates memory and emotion. Hans, 81, from Munich, took up the harmonica after retiring. Each tune unlocks a season of my life, he says. Studies support this. Music therapy enhances brain function and even reconnects dementia patients with lost parts of their identity. Social connection remains one of the strongest buffers against cognitive decline. Loneliness is a known risk factor, often correlating with memory loss and depression. Julian, 74, from Chicago, joined a community garden after retirement. He didn't know a single person there, but the shared task of growing vegetables brought him into daily conversations. You start by talking about soil, he said, but end up sharing memories. Elderly reflections like his show us community isn't just companionship, it's therapy. Digital connectivity also offers new bridges. Seniors like Fiona, 79, from Dublin, attend weekly Zoom book clubs and painting classes. I thought I'd hate the screen, she laughs, but now it feels like a window to the world. Online engagement, when balanced, helps reduce isolation and promotes cognitive agility. Another vital practice is maintaining routine and structure. Daily rituals, even small ones, help anchor the mind. Brigitte, 79, from Vienna, keeps a journal each morning. It helps me clear the clutter in my head, she explains. She writes about dreams, weather, and memories from her youth. Researchers suggest that journaling enhances emotional clarity and memory consolidation, especially for seniors. Let's not forget emotional processing. Seniors often carry decades of unspoken grief, regret, or untied tension. Therapeutic practices, whether through formal counseling or meaningful conversation, play a key role in emotional stability. Don, 82, from Perth, attended group therapy for widowed men. We laughed, cried, and remembered, he said. Grief softened, and my mind became lighter. Emotional release often translates into sharper focus and deeper peace. Volunteering and service also offer mental clarity and emotional healing. Marta, 84, from Buenos Aires, bakes every Sunday for a local shelter. I might forget names, she says, but I never forget the recipe for kindness. Acts of giving boost serotonin and provide a steady sense of being needed. Spiritual and mindful practices also contribute to cognitive strength. Practices like prayer, meditation, or mindful breathing stimulate the prefrontal cortex and reduce anxiety. Eileen, 76, from Marseille, begins and ends each day with 10 minutes of meditation. I sit with my breath and listen to silence, she says. It slows time, it softens thought. Creative expression remains one of the most joyful protectors of the aging mind. Whether it's music, dance, drawing, or storytelling, the act of creating lights up multiple areas of the brain. Harold, 85, from Brooklyn, began painting portraits of people he met in coffee shops. Each wrinkle, each smile tells a life, he said. Creating keeps him engaged and helps him feel connected to a bigger world. Margot, 87, from Prague, writes poems in secret and mails them anonymously to friends. Words keep me alive, she said. Creative expression brings not only joy but freedom. Freedom to reshape the self, to share truths, to connect beyond memory. Sleep, often overlooked, is equally essential. Poor sleep impairs memory consolidation and emotional balance. Seniors like Mei Lin, 81, from San Francisco, who created a consistent nighttime ritual, no screens, warm bath, chamomile tea, report clearer thinking and better energy. Sleep is my quiet healer, she says. Studies suggest that good sleep hygiene can even slow the buildup of harmful brain proteins linked to Alzheimer's. And let's not forget the role of humor. Laughing activates the brain's reward system, reduces stress, and sharpens memory. Antonio, 78, from Naples, hosts a weekly joke hour with his grandchildren over video call. We don't always understand each other, he chuckles, but we always laugh, and laughter brings us back to life. Finally, a sense of purpose. Purpose gives meaning. It rewires the brain away from helplessness. Gregor, 79, from Berlin, volunteers as a reading mentor at a primary school. When those kids light up, he said, I feel 20 years younger. Studies have confirmed that seniors who report having a sense of purpose perform better on memory tasks and live longer lives. Life lessons from the elderly often reveal one clear truth. When we feel needed, we stay mentally alive. So yes, the mind changes with age, but it also adapts, grows, deepens. And through simple yet powerful habits, walking, learning, connecting, reflecting, we can guide those changes toward health and meaning. That's the message behind Elderly Reflections. Aging isn't about fading, it's about blooming inward. Aging is not the end of growth, it's the beginning of a new kind of expansion. Our minds may shift, but with care and intention, they become deeper, more discerning, and more emotionally attuned. Every story we share today is a reminder that it's never too late to start walking, learning, forgiving, creating, or simply pausing to reflect. These aren't just good habits, they're gateways to resilience and peace. If this message touched you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and turn on notifications so you never miss stories of senior wisdom, inspiration, and motivation. Your support helps bring these reflections to others who may need them. And now, we'd love to hear from you. What helps you stay mentally strong after 60? And where are you watching from today? Let's build this community one story, one memory, one reflection at a time.